Previously on M.V.P.Knight talking about the Santa Clauses.
My mom and my sister never really saw eye to eye, but my sister adored every minute with Aunt Tina until the day she died.
Thank you, Scott. I think your story has provided the answer to this problem. The moral of this story is kill the cool aunt before it's too late. She should be horrified by her actions and want someone to help her with that. Instead, she's just upset with Flavafana for not Yas Queening her over this. Foolishness. As you can see, Carol almost got the dress code with a red blazer with a white shirt underneath, but there's a little something here that shouldn't be there. Did somebody complain about the dress she wore in season 1?
You're always busy with your dad. We never see each other and then you show up in my living room? It's too much. I'm done.
No. Last time we saw Riley, she was gushing about everything in the North Pole, wolf whistling at Cal's biceps, and supposedly taking up way too much of Cal's attention. And now, all of a sudden, he's not dedicating enough time to her. Didn't they tell me that Cal's problem was that Riley was taking up too much of his attention away from the Santa Claus stuff? And now she's telling him that the Santa Claus stuff is taking too much time away from her? This development just comes flying out of nowhere, telling us the exact opposite of what it's been telling us.
You betrayed me.
You're always busy with your dad. I'm done.
You stole
Riley
from your son.
None of this would have happened if Dad wasn't so obsessed with me being Santa.
So it takes the last drop of my blood. I will see the seas boil.
Long story short, I'm doing Season 2 Episode 4 and Season 2 Episode 5 in this one video. So if it looks like the video's wrapping up when I'm just talking about Episode 4, that's because I didn't know I was going to do this cramming into one video when I was recording the Episode 4 part, so keep watching until I'm done with Episode 5.
If you don't reduce your stress, you're going to explode. That's what happens to elves who get as wound up as you do. We call it Curtisitis.
If I was more attached to Curtis, I would be upset about that, but I'm not really, so I'll say that's a pretty funny way to explain what happened to Curtis. The way that they just drop that on you and keep going is also kind of funny.
Less stress, and to get your head right.
Hear that, honey?
If you tell him, he'll just stress out more. Better to tell him that he can get through anything with Honey Bunch around. Still haven't figured out the dress code, I see.
Sandra turned the Easter Bunny into a bunny, so now we're doing Easter.
So the fact that Sandra turned a person into an animal with a horrifying display of the dark arts has caused an entire holiday to be at stake and might cause Noel to explode. Are you sure that you're still on Sandra's side?
What? Easter? How do you spell
I don't have
Easter?
time
What
for
is
this.
Easter? We don't know nothing about no Easter.
Yeah, like, does the Easter Bunny hide the Easter eggs, or do the eggs hide themselves?
Exactly, and what do eggs have to do with Jesus?
How did Jesus like his eggs?
With all this talk of Jesus, I think she's redeemed herself after that horrifying suggestion she made in Season 1. You might remember that she brought up the idea of putting all girls in nice and all boys in naughty. At the time, I wanted to throw her out the window, but she's been a valuable contribution lately, I guess.
Maybe Jesus had chickens and was friends with a bunny?
Oh, that's a good idea.
Maybe I should bring that up at church if they object to me wearing Easter stuff.
You're gonna have to tell the reindeer about this.
Okay, fine, but I'm not doing any witchy magic.
Well, no one's asking you to.
Good, because those days are over.
I'm torn because on one hand it's for the best that she abandons the dark arts, but on the other hand those dark arts would have come in handy in the Civil War. And speaking of Cal starting the Civil War,
I'm gonna ask you to help me deliver the eggs.
are you sure you want someone whose sanity is so deteriorated to go into everybody's houses? He could plant bombs everywhere. He's got nothing left to lose. His girlfriend left him. His career is in a shambles. His dad just pushes him more into that career, which he hates, which got him to lose his girlfriend. His sister is practicing the dark arts, except she's not practicing the dark arts anymore, which makes her both a heretic and useless. And his mom gives all her attention to his sister.
Sure, why not? It's not like Riley will get mad at me for being too busy with crazy stuff and break up with me because she already did.
Oh, well, that's a good attitude to have. Let's...
Dad, I need that. I need it for revenge.
Basket of tricks.
Yes, full of stink eggs, laughing eggs, and the magical rabbit hole.
How do you know all this?
He knows that from the missions that are apparently too top secret for this unknown woman to know anything about. I remember there being more walking eggs around here.
I thought you were enjoying it.
I was, so I ruined the Easter Bunny.
Mom, what if he never turns back?
Finally, some concern for what she's done.
In fact, women for all time have been filled with a deep rage. We just need to find a way to get your anger out.
What are you doing?
Oh, come on, take a look around. He's not even gonna notice.
You can't count on this to be the solution to her anger issues for all time, because not every house is going to belong to someone who wouldn't even notice. And you don't even know that you wouldn't even notice. Not only have you transformed an innocent person into an animal, you're ransacking his house and saying it's okay because you're women. If you have little girls in the house who haven't seen this episode yet, it's better to skip over this part so they don't get any ideas while you're away from the house.
So, no more self-imposed magic ban.
After what we've seen today, we know that she can't be trusted with the dark arts.
I'm sure.
Look, I'll have my assistant reach out and schedule a day for Cal to learn my job. It's not all blankets and sheep.
I have the Easter Bunny's basket of tricks.
Okay.
If you get cornered, you throw an itching egg.
Itching egg?
Yes.
Where's the boomerangs in case of nightmare attack?
Look, I know it's not easy doing the rounds when you're emotionally distraught. And I know Riley means a lot to you, son, so I think you should go talk to her.
So I think you should go do the thing she was mad at you about again. Going to see her in the middle of the night, uninvited. It is nice that he's coming around on Cal and Riley's relationship, though. I will allow for that still being a deadly weapon if Santa Claus has an increased level of durability, which I'm not sure if they have ruled out. Sort of a mixed bag of an episode. The jokes were hit and miss, and Sandra as being a bad influence. At least the elves were there to pick up the witch's slack. And I do like how even though Cal was fumbling with his Santa stuff in this episode, Scott still wanted to throw him a bone by trying to fix things with Riley. I might have skipped over it, but there was a part where Cal accidentally left a bunch of stink eggs in the houses. If they had made it lethal explosive eggs instead of stink eggs, that would have made it actually funny instead of low comedy. The bad news with Scott being a better father to Cal is this might prevent the civil war we were all looking forward to. But at least we still have the war against the Xenos gnomes to look forward to. However, there's only 2 more episodes to go, and that's not enough time for a satisfactory war.
The response has been incredibly overwhelming, and it actually brought my dad and I back together.
No one knows your dad, Chris.
Well, at least I know my dad.
What are you gonna misery me? What is this? No. Oh.
I like how Carol shielded Scott like that. Can you imagine if she was just gonna let Scott get hit by a hammer after all her talk of being the big protector hero? Phew, she's just bringing that out for the watch. Wait, why did the doctor have that big giant Looney Tunes hammer to begin with? Perhaps she doesn't have access to sedatives.
Yes, well, using Santa magic on another Santa is debilitating for both parties.
Okay.
Has this happened before?
I can go get you some ice.
Have we ever really checked her credentials?
We asked her about that. It went like this.
First of all, I'll have to see your credentials. Listen, tell me something, Professor. Have you had any experience?
What is all this banging in here?
I lost it. No, the vest, my training vest.
Just now we're figuring that out. Cal sees a vision of Magnus Antis wearing his vest, and instead of asking anyone to help him get it, Cal decides to just go off himself. We'll talk about that soon.
I wanted to apologize for what I said before.
Finally.
That is what a transformation spell does. That is the Easter Bunny.
I'm starting to think maybe they made the Easter Bunny annoying on purpose so you wouldn't feel bad about him being turned into a bunny and then a lemon. They've been putting more focus on Sandra, so maybe they wanted you to not care about the Easter Bunny himself in this matter. Oh, now he can ride the sleigh. We'll talk about that soon. Was she trying to save him by running around to the back of him like that? They should have positioned her differently so that she could just run straight toward him and jump onto his back.
You look like a training film for how they make sausages. And I love it.
You love it? Since when? That's a bit revisionist of you.
No, I'm actually not a guest.
Oh, so you're a trespasser. I'll bet you're recording this as an urban explorer.
And I suppose you think you're going to be the next Santa?
Maybe? That's what my dad wants, and it's not a no for me. But I have heard cruise ship captains have really good benefits.
Funny how he doesn't have a straight answer when asked if he's going to be the next Santa. We'll talk about that soon.
We went against a Santa. I should have been banished to beyond the Wobbly Woods forever ago. It's more than a rule, it's a clause. Unbreakable.
You're a hero. And so are you, Noel.
That should have been obvious. I guess it's obvious to a human, but elves think that you should never rebel against Santa, but humans have a long history of rebelling against dictators. I don't know what's funnier, the fact that they strapped Cal up high right here, or the fact that they couldn't do the same with him. So that does answer the question of how destructive the snowball can be when it's aimed at someone not Santa. So that's nice. Because earlier it looks like his snowballs were far, far, far less effective than a gunshot.
Oh, the Santa Blaster. I went to pick it up when I heard that Mad Santa was on the loose.
A little uncomfortable knowing we have a weapon at the North Pole called a Santa Blaster.
Yeah, you'd think that elves who think it's a crime so heinous to attack a Santa, to the point where they have mixed feelings about taking out Magnus Antis, wouldn't have a weapon designed explicitly for a Santa. Unless Cal commissioned it as part of the Civil War effort. Someone's gonna fire that, right? You can't show Chekhov's gun and then not fire Chekhov's gun. That's not how this works. So right now, you might think that it's a shame that we never got Cal to rebel against his father before he was turned into a nutcracker. Are you sure that Cal didn't rebel against his father? What if I told you that Cal has been a secret mastermind, controlling both sides of this conflict without either side knowing? Cal was furious at Scott for suggesting that he forgets about Riley.
Listen, Cal, I think it's best if you forget about Riley.
What?
He needed an opponent to go up against him. Magnus Antis was just such an opponent, but the Easter Bunny almost ruined everything by warning Scott about him. So Cal pushed Sandra's buttons to get her to turn the Easter Bunny into an animal.
You're just jealous that I'm the heir to the throne. You don't even know what hair means.
Look, I'm not here for your shenanigans.
Hair means rabbit.
Then he talked to Sandra and got her to go with him to Riley's house. She thought that it was her idea, but it was an idea that Cal planted in her head.
I wish I could just see her.
Cal, you can see the vortexes, and I can fly the sleigh.
So they went off to see Riley, and them breaking up made no sense. But the fact that it makes no sense makes perfect sense, because I've got news for you. That breakup was a complete sham. Riley is in on this coup, and she wants to be the girlfriend of the new Santa Claus.
I'm dating the next Santa Claus.
That argument was just a show to convince Sandra that the breakup was real.
I'm sorry, bud. That was real rough.
That's rough, buddy. Pretending to be emotionally distraught, Cal threw the vests aside so that it would fall down for Magnus Antis to find it. And it made no sense for Magnus Antis to be there in that specific time, in that specific place, unless Cal's magic had called out to him. Cal gave Magnus Antis the vest on purpose. Cal realized that getting the Easter Bunny transformed was even more brilliant than he originally thought, because it gave him an excuse to take Scott out into the woods, to the same place where he had left the vest, so that Magnus Antis would attack. Cal even weakened Scott's resolve by tiring him out, placing the exploding eggs instead of the real eggs under the guise of a misunderstanding, so that Scott would have to go back and switch them. Cal's Santa magic awakened the Mad Santa and got him to go to the same place where he knew that Scott would take him. Magnus Antis tried to kill Scott, but that fool couldn't do his one job. Must Cal serve Scott up on a silver platter? To give Magnus Antis another chance at what he should have gotten right the first time, Cal flew the sleigh to Magnus Antis.
Help me to the sleigh.
He had no plan to retrieve the vest from Magnus Antis. That was never the goal. The goal was to deliver the sleigh right to Magnus Antis so that he could take it to the North Pole. And to get there, he had to fly the sleigh, which he didn't seem able to do before. But the truth is, Cal always had the ability to fly the sleigh. He just doesn't want to. So he's been pretending to be unable to do so. Cal doesn't want the sleigh. He wants the throne.
I'm the heir to the throne.
Cal's vision is for Sandra to be the one to deliver the presents while he rules the North Pole. Cal always saw Sandra's potential before she even knew it. After all, one of his abilities is knowing what people need.
I just wish me and Riley could have a normal relationship.
Not right now.
And it might look like this can't all be Cal's master plan, because Cal just got transformed into a nutcracker. But that's the most brilliant part of it all. Now, Cal just has to sleep while his enemies kill each other. When one Santa uses their powers against another Santa, it's debilitating for both parties. So it stands to reason that if one Santa kills another Santa, they both die. When the smoke is rising from the corpses of both Scott and Magnus Antis, the elves will seek out Cal and transform him back into his human form, thinking that he was a victim in all this. Cal will have his turn on the throne early, and he'll make the rules about who flies the sleigh and whether or not he can date Riley. He shall walk to his father's grave, pretending to cry while the elves watch. And when he has gone out of earshot, with his face out of their view, he will whisper to his father's tombstone, "This is what you get for telling me to forget about Riley. Long live the claws." Well, either that or Cal is a buffoon whose stupidity is used for plot convenience. The next episode, I'm pretty sure, is going to be the last episode of Season 2. I'm just going to look up real quick if there's talk of Season 3 yet. I don't think they have announced it yet. From what I'm seeing, it looks like Tim Allen wants to do another season, though. So remember to like, comment, subscribe, ring the bell, and have a happy Easter after you have a Merry Christmas.